here's your heads up to this 5 minute quickie. And as usual, way past 5 minutes. But we're going on from the last FMQ about trying. But now we're going to talk about achieving, success, empowerment, confidence. And it's have a listen.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Cloughie. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, the 5 minute quickie with me, Paul Cloughie. Personal Development Unplugged. Hey, the last FMQ we talked about being a little trier, didn't we? And not trying and committing and all that stuff. But the thing is, now that you're committed, because you are, aren't you? You have taken that on board. If you haven't, if you didn't listen to it, have a little flick back. It's only about 10 minutes long. But we're committed to doing and being now, aren't we? We're going to stop trying. We're going to cut that out of our dialogue, our communication, and become a doer. Become a little beer. But the problem is, I guess, sometimes when we get like this, we're committed. But when we commit to things, sometimes we get overwhelmed. And you see, why would that be a problem? Well, what does overwhelmed lead to? I guess it leads to disappointment. It leads to bloody headaches sometimes, doesn't it? Because and that, you know, as if there's so much noise going around. And burnout, that's really when people are overwhelmed because they try too hard. And I think that's the whole point of this thing. You know, there's something in the title. Now I'm trying too hard. In fact, we're taking it out of the doing it too hard. And that is the word too, T-O-O, too hard. You see, wouldn't it be interesting if you were able to just flow, be in the flow? And we've talked about that before, and I'm probably going to talk about it again because it's such an interesting and such an empowering thing to do when you're in that moment, in the flow. Because that's when you're really firing on all cylinders. You're empowered to do the things you really want to do. You know, being so motivated. Feels good, doesn't it? And when you're like that, you don't get overwhelmed. You don't get burnout when you're doing the stuff you love, especially if you do it in a proper way, I guess. A proper way means, you know, achieving the success with the least amount of effort and the maximum amount of return and joy. Tony Robbins said a brilliant thing, and it just seems to pan out, and I've heard so many other people quote what he said. Yeah, I know what you're saying. What did he say, Paul? What did he say, Cloughie? Come on, tell us. Well, what he said was this. People overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term, which is what we think about that just for a moment before we get there. Let's just think about that. How many times do we think we're going to be able to do this and that and this and that and find out? Because they're only small things and they're only this and it won't take too long to do that. But with all the other stuff going on and also there are other commitments and trying to put this on top of that, we find there's just not enough time in the week, the month, whatever, to do all the things we want to do. So we've overestimated. And what happens when we do that? That equals failure, doesn't it? Because we either do things in a rush and we don't do them right and we make mistakes. And, well, if there is such a thing as failure, which I don't think there is because we could learn by it, therefore it's not a failure. But if we don't follow through and we don't complete to success, that's a little bit of a failure, I guess. But it certainly disempowers us, doesn't it? And in that disempowerment can also influence and affect, I guess, what we do in the future, what other things we decide to do and be, because we've got it now. We're not going to try and do this stuff. We're going to do it and we're going to be this, be the success we want to be. But then when you think about it, sometimes when you've done stuff and you think, I'll never be able to get here to do this stuff. I mean, I go back to the times when I used to be in the NLP class, learning NLP and hypnosis, thinking I could never do what that trainer does. I'd never be able to work with people and get to the answers that quickly. I'd never be able to do a demonstration of, hypnosis or NLP and be able to get the results on stage in front of people. Never be able to do that. Not in a month of Sunday. If I do it all my life, I won't be able to do it. And hang on. What am I doing? I've been working with people for a long time. Getting the results for a long time. Getting quicker and more elegantly. And I do demonstrations when I do my trainings. And I get the results on stage in front of people. Now we do demonstrations in front of hundreds of people. Couldn't have dreamed of that in the long term. So I've underestimated myself, which is what we do. Think of the things that you've achieved. And then think of when you first started it, how far in the future you thought it would take you to do that. I'm sure you got it quicker than you thought. But leading up to it, sometimes we had overestimated what we could do in the short term. So good old Tony Robbins, hats off to the man. If I had a hat now, I'd take it off. And I'd suggest you take off your hat too, if you had one. But I haven't, but I will. But the thing is, why is it then so important? Because I want you to succeed. I want you to totally succeed. Succeed in all your dreams. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it, this personal development? Encouraging you not only to get your dreams, but start your dreams. And realize that there is no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. And the reason you didn't get your dreams in the past is because you didn't have the resources at that time, or you weren't accessing them, or you just didn't have the resources at the time. But now you can, and you can find them, and just to allay your fears, basically, because it might appear daunting because we're going past that old familiar comfort zone. We've got, people around us sometimes who might be the naysayers, and we're going to show them that we can do it, and actually then not convert them, because we don't convert anybody, but just show them by being the example, being the expert of being you, and then confirm to yourself you can do it, and you can do anything. So it's a matter of then achieving the success by setting out our goals and targets. And we've got this, there's some processes and hypnosis on my hypnosis website. It's all free, you know that. Go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast, sign in, get them all there. So there's things like setting an outcome, setting your goal, getting your goal. But nevertheless, when you do that, I think we need to have a reasonable expectation. So not that overestimate of what we can achieve in the short term. So we need to be reasonable in our expectations. But the thing is, we go back to SMART goals, and we've talked about those before. And the A and the R in SMART is achievable and realistic. Now, who sets that level, that bar of achievability or realistic ability, if that's a word? It's you. So, but just make sure that you assess it. Not too small, not too big, but just being realistic and make sure it's achievable, because then you can start working on your goal. And we've talked about working our goals, well-formed outcomes, working from the end result, seeing your goal, having your goal, knowing what has to be done the step just before achieving your goal, and then what has to be done the step before to achieve that step, and the step before, and the step before, until you come right back to now. So all you have to keep asking yourself, what has to happen before that? And that's a plan. And then you can look at that plan and make sure, could I do it easier? Could I do it better? Is there things, what's the worst that could happen, and can I mitigate it? What's the best that could happen, and can I, infuse that? So we just get, and these don't have to be really deep thoughts, but they're thoughts that we can have. And I think they're good thoughts. And then one of the biggest things I think that let us down, and this is this bit by going back to Tony Robbins, people overestimate what they can do in the short term, is check what else is going on. So maybe you work out what has to be done in this month. Step backwards from the end of the month to now. These are the steps I'm going to take. But what other things are you doing in this time period? Because although those steps look easy, well, if you've got other commitments, maybe you have to move those commitments. Maybe you have to mitigate those. But also maybe those commitments are important for other goals, for other areas of your life. And therefore, will be that bit of overestimating what you can do in this period of time and just slide it out. Because when you know you've slid it out, you've decided, this is now what I'm going to do. It's achievable. It's now realistic. And it really is realistic. You can go for it. And how do you go for it? Well, you know that. The whole 5 steps of success. Knowing your goal. Well, we've done that. We've made sure it's realistic, achievable. Taking action, massive intuitive action, but you're making action now and knowing you can do that action. Taking total awareness, knowing where you are. That's the measurable side of it, isn't it? The M for smart. Measuring where you are, just making sure you're aware of how you're going along. So maybe something else comes along in that month that is really important to you. So you may have to deflect or move some stuff around. But at least you're aware of it and you're not getting overwhelmed by these things that are coming at you. Then what do? Well, we've already done it. We've been flexible because we had to change. If we have to change, we will be flexible to go round over obstacles. This is keeping us all empowered. And when we do it with a physiology and a psychology of excellence, the best you can be, the real you, act as if you've got it already. How would you be psychologically wise and physiology? I can't say that word, but you know what I mean. In your body, physiology. We've got to succeed, haven't we? Because we've got a lovely plan and we've gone from the old trying, which doesn't work, to the doing. And all we've really done is paused a little bit, I guess, and reviewed and making sure that when we commit, we can commit with our full energy. And that means we're going to get success every step of the way. And if there's anything we have to do, it's not failure. We're learning by it because we're going to be adaptable, flexible, aware. And that means we're going to get that success in every step, as I just said, which means we're going to be empowered. And when we're empowered, we're just going to keep growing. And your unconscious mind is then going to start setting this as an unconscious behavior, an unconscious thinking pattern. And then you're going to start to make things happen even more. Bigger, better, quicker. Any other wonderful descriptive word you can add to that, more colourful, brighter, more empowering, more motivating. And it will actually then attract new things to your life because you're going to feel more competent and confident. All these things from just doing a couple of things. Well, starting from not trying. And if you think about that, well, I was going to try to do that, but actually now I'm doing it. And now I'm achieving it. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? I think you might have to rewind this and go over again. I don't know, because I've been rattling on at 100 miles an hour. But I really hope this has made sense to you. It's made more sense to me now. I've said it again. So some of the projects I'm doing, I need to think about maybe a little differently. Or maybe I've got to pause again and review it. Set my direction. Set my, level of achievements where I want to be. Make them more realistic. But not unrealistic in a negative way either. In being too short. Not too much, not too little, just the right amount. And when that pause and review takes moments. If it took half an hour to do a full review of what I've said, it will save you hours and create more success than you can imagine. And it is easy, simple. We just need to focus. And that's going to be the subject of another podcast, how we focus. And what does it mean? Hey, sometimes, and it is, I'm going to tell you now, purely by coincidence, some of these bloody podcasts actually string together. And hey, maybe that's just my mind getting a thought pattern going now. And I'm focusing, and I'm doing, and I'm being. I hope so. If you like what you heard, I'd love to know. I really would love to know. The email, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. I'd love to know whether or what you've learnt, the effect that what I've just been talking about has had. Has it encouraged you? What's it encouraged you to do? If there's things you'd like me to improve on, and I know there is, and I love that feedback too, to help me improve, to give you what you need, to give me what I need, and just to be more part of this. And if there's areas of your life or your issues or your things you'd like to learn about or think about more deeply, do pass it through that email address. I'll repeat it again, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Come straight to me, nobody else, and I reply personally. And we'll keep evolving this podcast to make it bigger, as in a bigger audience. That comes with the sharing, by the way. To share it to as many people as you could. And if you could put that review, and I'm going to bang on about it forever, because I know we can think about it, say, oh, what a great idea, Paul, I'll do that, and then we forget about it. I'd like you to remember, or maybe just stop now, do that review and then come back. And let's just share everything with the world, share everything with our friends, and share with me, and I'll share with you. I'm sharing a lot of my personal stuff on here, and I want to continue to do so. And it's nice to be motivated by, from yourselves. Encourage me with your dreams. That's a concept, isn't it? It's a great concept. Anyway, do that, subscribe, that, press the subscribe button so you get these podcasts on a Wednesday morning and a Saturday. And that's all you need to do. Well, not only, just enjoy. That's what you have to really do. Enjoy every heartbeat and live with so much passion that you're just overwhelmed with passion and joy and happiness. Until the next time, there'll be a little note at the end of this. As you know, I'll just pop a little thing at the end, and then I'm going to speak to you next time. See you real soon. Bye-bye now. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple, really. I wanted you to have them all in one place, so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable, so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you, it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals, and therefore I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.